I first want to read a little bio of Marla Allison. Marla's from Laguna Pueblo, an enrolled member of the Pueblo of Laguna, where she currently works and resides. Here's where she finds inspiration in making her art and connecting with family, tradition, and her creative self. Miss Allison is a full-time contemporary artist and mainly chooses the medium of acrylic paints. She's been an artist for her entire life. By high school, she was learning oil, painting, and ceramics. Throughout the study, with her first teacher, Mr. Lawrence Sinnott, she had been introduced to materials of tattoo books, designs of buildings, pottery design, pop culture, and life around her, where she made her foundation in her own work. Later, she found inspiration in the various art styles of Pablo Picasso, Frida Kahlo, M.C. Escher, Yayoi Kusama, Paul Klee, Gustav Klimt, current artists like Lee Marmon, Mateo Romero, Tony Abeda, and the geometric patterns of Laguna and Hopi pottery designs. Miss Allison found the need of expression in her youth and continued her education at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe. She graduated with an associate's degree in three-dimensional art. While there, Marla had the opportunity to study under the direction of Mateo Romero. Marla has had many accolades to her resume. She was awarded the Eric and Barbara Dobkin Fellowship at the School for Advanced Research and the inaugural Innovation Award in the Santa Fe Indian Market. In addition, she has been a guest speaker for the Business Innovation Factory at the Rhode Island School of Design and has lectured at several classes on innovation, and where Marla can be found at the Lovitz Gallery in Tulsa and also Tom Taylor and the La Fonda Hotel in Santa Fe. Also, we've got some new pieces coming in. I know she just had one that was done recently. Permanent collections of Marla's work are found in the Red Cloud Indian School Collections, Pine Ridge, South Dakota, the Heard Museum, Permanent Collection, Phoenix, the Museum of Indian Arts and Culture in Santa Fe, and various private collections around the country. But before I bring Marla up, I also wanted to have Jenny recognize her as well.
So Marla has been a very, very good friend of mine for a long time, and I could not be, this is so timely, and I could not be more proud because just last month at the Heard Show, Marla not only won Best of Class, but she won Best of Division for her painting. So these are her ribbons that yes, that is a huge honor. And I got to the Heard Show, I guess, as it opened, so that La Fonda could buy this juried ribbon piece. So La Fonda was able to buy the piece, and it is, it's being framed, and it will be, I'm not sure where Barbara's got it going, and unfortunately we're not going to hang the ribbons with it, but I just wanted y'all to see the ribbons as a visual because Marla is really at the zenith of her career right now. So here's Marla.
Thank you for the invite, for having me, the wonderful introduction, and being such great supporters of arts and all the artists here around Santa Fe, Native arts. It's highly appreciated, and the fact that you all have such great knowledge and you share it with all the visitors here in La Fonda, it's an honor to be a part and have my work here as well as to get to know you. So as I was introduced, I'm from Laguna Pueblo, which is an hour west of Albuquerque, so it's about 2 hours of a drive for me. It's a beautiful place. This is a photograph taken by my good friend Lee Marmon, who lives maybe 15 minutes away from where I live. He was up on a hill, and right at sunrise he took this photograph, and this is probably 15 years old, but still pretty much what Laguna looks like, and just a gorgeous place. This is one of the villages. There's 6 villages. I'm originally from Mesita Village, where my parents reside, and I live currently, I've moved to Powati Village, which is another village of Laguna. My husband and I have built a house there, and we're right in the middle of the plaza and all the festivities and everything that go on. So if you guys ever come out to Laguna, please send me an email, let me know. We can visit or have some lunch, or you can come and check out our feast day, September 25th in Powati. The main Laguna feast day is September 19th. Just let me know. My email is on my website. But so I thought I'd talk about my early work so you all can understand where I came from and my influences. I assume you probably know some of some about me, and if I'm repeating, I'm sorry, but I don't know all the things that you know. My first influence and first, I guess, love of art was Pablo Picasso. His Cubist style was immense and really gave me a huge understanding of who I wanted to be and how I wanted my art to show to the general public. I wasn't quite sure how my direction was going to be. I had a very loose paint stroke where it was just, kind of spewed out. And I guess it was in his similar style where I was trying to understand Cubism. So this is my homage to Pablo himself. He's just an amazing artist to understand and follow. And as time progressed, I would try and do figures or things of that nature and connect something of the world that I know with the art of Cubism, or I wasn't quite sure. And so the beginning stuff was really odd, but it kind of made sense for certain people. And the great part is that this painting was of 9/11. And the fun part, it was also my first book cover for a friend of mine's poetry. His name's Joseph Delgado. He's a poet from here in New Mexico, and it was a great honor to have been had a painting on a cover. As time progressed, I've had a few other paintings on covers. Currently, right now, Max Early, from my home village, he's 15 minutes of a walk, not even that, 5 minutes. He's an amazing potter and also poet. He's won a lot of awards and accolades for not only his work, but now his poetry. And this is the cover of his book. I don't have the actual cover, but it's the main painting that's on the cover. And it was from a poem that he titled Summer Ends Too Soon. And it truly does, I mean, it's so gorgeous with the animal and the life that come out and the plants that grow and all the community that gets to enjoy each other, not only in Laguna, but Powati, and Santa Fe and things that go on. We get to connect and we get to share traditions. Once wintertime comes, everybody kind of hides away in their houses. So the rest of the work it does have pottery influence. It's kind of starting to migrate into various colors. I really embrace metal paint colors in my paintings. I really enjoy them. The lips and her barrette and her bracelet have this gold leafing that's actually added on and coated with a clear coating. The background is just a regular paint. So I use various metallic colors in some of my paintings, which just give it a gorgeous effect and really gives it visual texture, along with the pottery design. And this painting here is at the Mayak Museum collection. So this was the first, and hopefully more will follow. But this is in their own personal collection and has pottery, but also blue corn, which is, I guess all corn is really sacred with where I'm from and the people that raise it, because it takes so much labor to put into making something that grows just, I guess, like a child. But since I'm not a parent, I understand vegetables, and I have a garden myself. This painting is one of the, I guess, the sister to the Hint of Blue that's here in the Fonda collection. This is called a Red Dress. This is prior to A Hint of Blue and still in the exact same style. Gustav Klimt influence with pottery design that I've added on to the dress. And yeah, I guess the main excitement is that, well, for those of you that don't know, my husband is a jeweler, Pat Pruitt, and he really opened my eyes to a lot of design and understanding the aesthetics of what it takes to make a really nice piece of artwork. And so from watching him and understanding his jewelry, I try and add that to some of my paintings, where if he sees the jewelry on the ladies, he can appreciate it, because otherwise he's very critical. But so this is a piece that the jewelry was meant to impress Pat, but also the rest of the general public. As time has continued, I've really pushed for texture understanding, and pushing myself is really a fun challenge that I think all artists need to do and embrace. Some get into a certain style and they stay with it. It's a comfort zone for a lot of people, but for myself, as you all have seen, most of my work is kind of pulling from various parts of my brain, and it helps me to understand more and more. Someday maybe it'll all merge together and be a interesting piece of art, but until then, it's different, but it's embracing everything that is still culture and tradition, from pottery design that's traditional and contemporary, and as I don't know, I guess as time continues, all these works will go into history. Isn't it funny to be able to share this with you? These are all just early works, previous, a few years ago, some more recent, and I guess the main person that of high influence on me is Lee Marmon. This is one of his photographs, and thankfully, with his permission, I've been able to paint his photographs. I'm the one and only that I know of that has exclusive permission to paint his photographs, mainly because not only is it giving me a great connection with Laguna and being able to paint the people from where we're both from, but also it brings his work into contemporary eyes, and it I guess brings him back into the public again. And so we both get our artwork seen one way or another. And so it's I guess, a partnership that we've both come to understand. And I'm so thankful that he's allowed me to paint his photographs. And so this is his most famous photograph, White Man's Moccasins, which is, of course, one of my favorites. I'm sure everybody else understands that. It's just gorgeous. But this is my first take on the first painting that I did of his photograph. And I titled this my own Old Man Jeff, because in the original story that he told me that this is his name. And he had to convince him to pose for this photograph time and time again. And once he actually had these cigarillos in his pocket, he said, "I'll pose for you if you give me one of those." And so Lee was like, "Oh no, this is my last one. All right, fine, if it's for the photograph." And yeah, so hence the reason the cigarillo is in his hand. But knowing him, I guess we can read that in his books that he's given out, but to know him personally, it gives it more of this Wild West character connection of his work, and lets me embrace who he is, and to really enjoy working with him. And I treasure his time. He's, I think, 89 this year. He's getting up there. He gets around, but it's a struggle for him, so he's a little tough. But this was earlier this year. We both have our current work at the Dancing Eagle Casino, which is huge for both of us. They really have never shown Laguna artists, and the fun part is that both our work is on the walls together. Like we're both honored in our own casino, in our own home, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. So if any of you get a chance to go to Laguna at the Dancing Eagle Casino, it's right along the hallway by the restaurant. So if anybody is curious about his work as well, other than what's here, they can be directed there as well. So yeah, thank you, Lee. Had to make sure to give him props. So yeah, as his work continues to influence me, it continues to progress. And so this is my first take on this original photograph. And as time continued, I thought to revisit that image. And so changing as I'm changing, so does the detail in the work, so does the color understanding, and I think that yeah, time will be fun to find out what's next. So yeah, this is a continuation of the square style that I've been really embracing. Paul Klee influence. He was the artist I first saw that did this square style and pattern. And from seeing his work, I kind of tried to do this square style and understand it and then put it towards what I've been aiming for. And so, yeah, it's becoming, I guess, another lifestyle pathway of an artist, I guess. So not only does Lee Marmon influence my work, so does Edward S. Curtis. I'm hugely excited about his work, and as well as Lee. He did a lot of work that really connects me with who was there in our past. And I think tradition and history is really, I mean, that's why we're all here. And with artwork, we can really embrace all of that. And so these Hopi women, I'm also not only Laguna, but I'm also more Hopi, actually. But I was raised in Laguna, so that's kind of why I have Hopi and Laguna pottery influence, but also the women and I guess photographs that I use, it kind of pulls from both my grandmother's backgrounds. And yeah, so these are current works, women with the pottery, the square design, a Lee Marmon photograph. This is actually a photograph of my great-grandmother's sister. And it was just gorgeous. I kind of had to do it. And in the style that I've been really working on, it really, God, it makes for such a great visual. And yeah. So these are influences of some of the work that's here at La Fonda. Some landscapes that are still in the square style, cubist embracement, and the animals that are around home. So yeah, this is the understanding, I guess, of with deer. I guess I'm getting I'm getting ahead of myself. We have a deer dance in Laguna, and that is the only thing that a woman can be a part of as far as dances that are traditional in its own way. Men have their own traditional ceremonies and stuff that they can be a part of, but as far as a woman, there's not very many things that they can join in. And so the deer dance is one of the few things that I've been raised with. And with that, it's this understanding that you connect with these animals. You do a whole fasting, cleansing, and when the dance actually happens, your body connects with kind of like a deer spirit in a way. I can only explain so much because some things aren't meant to be explained. It's more like a thing that you should see. And so, so this is kind of that. It's very strong, but that's the whole point of it. Is it's a strong connection. It's life. It's giving back and the embracement of one and the same. And so for a woman to climb into an animal or the animal to shed off of her, it's the only way I can actually give it a picture is because, I can't paint a lot of traditional stuff. Being a woman, things have been clarified to me that, you can't paint certain things. So I had to change it into my own vision, and to understand it and pass it on was this style. And so I continued with a series, not just deer. The deer, of course, was the main connection. But as time continued, I thought like, oh, what if I could be a golden eagle? What if I could be a wolf? What if, like, what if that connection were true or fantasy or whatever? And so just to embrace the vision, to continue with it, I did a whole series of these. And there's more images on my website if anybody wants to see, but at least to give that connection, I wanted to share that understanding. I know those probably would be a little too strong for here in the La Fonda collection, but at least you all know what some of the scope of my work. And yeah, this painting is called White Trees and Elk, just a look of fall, starting to become spring. So I thought it was kind of nice to have the season for the moment that we're in right now. And start with the La Fonda collection. This painting is in one of the rooms, I'm not exactly sure where. 214.
It's one of our model workers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was, I was asked to do a painting that needed to be in this certain area, right above a butterscotch colored couch with brownish carpet accents and this and that. And so I'd never done a custom painting before that needed particular colors. And so thankfully they had samples they could just give to me, like, here's the color you need to match. And so from that, I came out with this that was of the landscape, but also was all its own La Fonda painting. And if I need to refer back to these, just let me know. We can explain any questions you have on these. But this is the hint of blue that we're all used to seeing in the lobby, which I hope that maybe you'll come back soon and hang out with us. Again, this is Gustav Klimt influence, my own pottery design that either I came up with or I researched at the School for Advanced Research, or some of my designs come from the pottery that I've seen growing up around Laguna and my grandma's house of Hopi Pueblo pottery. So it's a whole mix of design that I add into it. But some design you can't really, put a symbol to, and so I try to do mostly water. I'm water clan from my grandma's side, which is my Hopi side, and so I try and do a lot of water symbols in it, where the triangles and those that curved little triangle thing, that's kind of to symbolize a cloud. Some of them are for raindrops, and yeah, so if you're ever wondering or want to explain anything more, it's at least rain symbology that's added on. And so this is an actual image of Lee Marmon's photograph. This was taken in the 70s when you could actually take photos. Shortly after he was able to take photos, they legally cut off anybody from taking photos of any Laguna dance. And so when you walk into a village, a feast day, there's signs that say no photographs, no sketches, no phones. And if any of the menfolk that are the leaders see people breaking out their phones, thankfully, I'm glad for it, they say, like, give me your phone, I'm gonna take it, and when you're done with the dance, you can talk to me later. So there is no, like, oh, maybe, or well, I hope you delete it. It's like, no, we're gonna make sure it's gone, and that you just enjoy these dances with your eyes. You feel them, it's for you because you're physically here. And so thankfully Lee Marmon could take this photograph and share it, but now you have to kind of go to the dances and feel them yourself, which I highly encourage you. I think you all should at least see the feast days. If you haven't already, go see them again. It's always fun. This is a Edward Curtis photograph that is up on the bar area, 5th floor, along the hallway. This is just, I guess, a gorgeous image of what a woman would be like if she were waiting for her pottery to be finished firing. This is definitely early 1900s. Nowadays, they don't dress like this at all. unless it's during the feast days and it's really windy, then they'll actually wear their shawls. but the rest of the time they're wearing their big sports jackets or something like that, but they'll wear their mantas and moccasins underneath. So yeah, this is my grandma's heyday. This was a daily sight that she saw, but as time and influence continued, so did the dress. And so, yeah, things change. But as far as changing things, this was something that I'd really never done before. I'd never painted a cowboy hat. The fun part was I got asked, hey, can you do something like this? And got a bunch of other artists doing it. Oh, well, if they're doing it. And so it pushed me to really try and figure out how the heck to paint on felt, which is weird because it's kind of like fibery. I mean, even painting on carpet is kind of similar. But once I put like a underpaint on it, then it could all go smoothly on. So that's the reason why the pottery design is actually nice and clean, was because of the underpaint. It's called Rain Overhead. And so this is all kind of like water designs, and kind of like that swirl up on top is kind of like a tide pool where, you know, things like water currents and how they move would be kind of symbolized, I guess. And so I guess the fun part to explain is the triptych, where myself, Mateo Romero on the left side, and Ryan Singer on the right side. This was in the studio working on the paintings for here at La Fonda. This is Mateo Romero's studio, because my studio in Laguna was really far, and Ryan living and working in Albuquerque, it just made sense for us to come here to Santa Fe and work on things with Mateo. He had such a huge open studio and welcoming embrace to a studio that it just made sense. So this was in the works. These are so you see, and if the artists come here into La Fonda, you'll know what their faces kind of look like. Although Mateo finally cleaned up his hair, so it's a nice high cut instead of the long ponytail. These are them completely fully assembled and how we originally painted them. So Ryan Singer on the left side, mine in the middle with the slight pottery design. It's very subtle. And then Mateo's work on the far right side. As we were painting them, we had to make sure back and forth, okay, what color are you using for this? Okay, I know not to use that color. So when it was finally laid out, we knew whose color was what, and whenever they were kind of jumbled back and forth, we knew that they would be different and pleasing to the eye with all the various colored choices. So this was a highly planned painting. And you can see the little squares that separate the pieces. When we first painted them, we had them really tightly taped together so they stayed completely solid. And once we finished painting them, we had to very softly cut them with a razor to separate the paint, because it kind of filled into the little crack. And on the back side is Velcro, which you know, makes complete sense. It holds everything together, and yeah, that was the main excitement to share with you all. And as we left it, Jenny made sure that we had to jumble it up, and so I guess we're due for another jumble pretty soon. So now you can kind of pick out some of our separate work. I hope someday that Mateo and Ryan and I can get together and do some more work. So yeah, as time continues, this painting here is another collaboration which I was completely excited to do. I worked with this artist named Hunter Wall, and he is still in high school, 16 years old, I think, 15 right now. He's son of Adrian Wall, who's a pretty well-known sculptor here in Santa Fe. But Hunter is really moving towards becoming a painter. He has great artistic influence and creativity already, showing and developing. And when working with him, we were first talking about coming up with a painting, and his ideas were really strong. He already knew that he wanted something of a symbol for one artist to pass something to another. He didn't know how to do that visually. And so as we brainstormed, we did sketches together on both our sketchbooks. So he has some scribbling on mine, and I have some on his. But what we finally came out with was the simpleness of a hand gesture. And he really was studying a lot of the Mimbres pottery design. And knowing my own design, I thought, hey, why don't we just use that? And that would actually characterize this whole thing, where it's, the title came out to be Through the Ages, which is, art in Through the Ages. Everybody can understand, a mother gives a child her knowledge or instinct, you find out things back and forth. And so from this piece, it was really, I guess, a growing up piece for me. Even though I think I'm kind of established, I'm not really. I'm still a child. But to have been asked by a younger artist to share some knowledge, that's immense. And for him to continue on and grow with his own work, it's both a big stepping stone for each of us. And so this painting is in the collection here at La Fonda. And I thought to at least explain this one. And the last, which is the painting called Labor of Love. Truly, every Pueblo woman knows the hardship of living in a plaza. You have to constantly cook, and I'm finding out the hard way, really fast. Putting on these adult clothes, and living here in the village, or at home in the village. You're asked to do a whole lot, and making bread is just one of the small things. You're constantly making stews, cookies, whatever. You have to attend everything, all the dances. And my mom, my grandmothers, they all knew. They didn't warn me. It was kind of like, yeah, go for it. And so, yeah, living with Pat, moving into Powati, now living in the village, which we just finally moved in about 3 to 4 years ago. So this is really new for deep village living. And understanding that, it's really making me grow into, I guess, the person I was meant to be. But it helps me to embrace the artwork and show my life and share that with the rest of the world to understand the steps that I'm taking. And with art, I get to share that. I get to give you all a visual. And so this painting is just a single labor of what you do, making bread for your family. And it's a small chore, but it's the labor that is the excitement. And to share the bread with your family is really, the labor is minimal. It's all about being able to feed those and your loved ones. And so I entered this into the Heard Museum this year and won these amazing ribbons. And so I'm pretty excited. I wasn't quite sure. I haven't really won too many place ribbons before. And so I was explained by a judge saying, okay, so this best of class is you got the best of painting area, and then best of division is photography, painting, printmaking, and all that. So it's the next step up would have been best of show. So really, like, to get this place is a huge honor, and I'm still not sure how to feel about it, but I'm really happy with it. So, so anyway, that's the main understanding of my paintings. And if there's any questions I can answer now, I'll be happy to do it. Yes?
A lot of our guests love the Pueblo.
Oh, wonderful.
So we explain how it was done. But what is the purpose? What is the symbol? Is it that art is a moving, living thing that can be changed? Or how do we explain to them the reason for this painting?
I think all of the above. It really is. I mean, art is always changing, and the influence and everything that, it's a living thing. I mean, whether we, want it to be a painting that goes through age and stay the same forever, it's going to change as well as we do. but I guess all in how you take care of it really is kind of, it's human, I guess. Oh, I'm so glad, and just.
Wasn't that woman shot in Tony's studio? Isn't that a full
It was. It was.
Tell everybody.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what kind of I guess, subject to paint. And we had the great idea, thanks to Virgil Ortiz. He's a pretty well-known artist. His main model, Leslie Oliver, I think that's her name. I think she changed, she might have gotten married recently and changed her last name. But her name is Leslie, and she has always done modeling for Mateo Romero. So thankfully, he has, exclusive rights ahead of Virgil. So we were able to actually ask her to be our model for this particular painting. And we did a variety of photographs. Thankfully, Tony Abeda has his uber cool studio here in downtown, which had amazing lighting and a back patio area. So we set it all up to do photographs there. And yeah, finally she just did the perfect pose where Tony had the pottery. And so that was one of his own pottery from his collection. And so as she held it up above her head, it was perfect. All three of us were like, okay, that's the photograph that we all need to do. And so, yeah, using Mateo Romero's styling of transferring the photograph onto a canvas, then we, do that kind of technique and then add on the paint and hand work and stuff like that. So being able to use Mateo's style allowed us to actually have the painting gridded out exactly the same on each three pieces. So that's kind of the backstory, I guess. Sir?
Marla, how long did it take you three to collaborate on that and finish it?
It took quite a while. It was our second attempt. Actually, the first set was actually bought at a Swaya auction and went to Los Angeles. So the triptych that's here currently is the second set. So this is our second collaboration on the same style of painting. But we actually had 3 individual paintings before where we each picked a picture and we thought, oh yeah, we'll just do it in our style. So we took that picture home to our own studios, met up again a couple weeks later, and we had all our paintings up, and it was in all our own individual styles. Completely nothing that's the same other than the same girl. And then Bruce Bernstein was running Swaya and Indian Market, and our true intent was to donate it, for the auction. And once he actually looked at it, he thought, just to be honest, this isn't a collaboration. This is you guys painting the same picture. And so we're like, oh man. So none of us had really worked with 2 other artists at the same time doing a collaboration. So we had to reassess and figure out, okay, how do we do this? And yeah, it came to mind. I'd been working with wood before, and so, through a group phone call, I thought, hey guys, why don't I just make a canvas that's square pieces, and once we paint it, then we can cut it apart and, change it up. So that way it's still the same thing, but it can be changed out and it becomes a collaboration, but also can have the fun ability to change and move those pieces back and forth. So it was really, I guess, an innovative step that we all kind of came to embrace together. Yeah, I do a lot of woodworking, in case you guys didn't know. So all the canvases that are here, I make in my own studio, stretch the canvas, stuff like that. So, yeah. Can I? Yes.
No, just do you come and rearrange them from time to time?
I haven't yet. We need to. We've been trying to schedule that for a couple of years now.
Marla, just a question on what Phil said. How many hours did you and Mateo and Rayo spend in the studio working on that, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, I don't know. It was at least like $300 in gas back and forth. But hours, it had to be at least a solid week. From, like 9 to 10, 9 in the morning to 10 at night. So, and yeah, it kind of varied depending on hours. Thankfully, being an artist, we can adjust our time to whatever we need.
Tell everybody that you come every 3 months and move.
Sure. I'm sure it'll look different to them every time, too. All right.
Marla, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.